Hello everyone, I'm Brian, welcome back. Let's go to continue.
So there is, since we're talking about education and the Indian education
Are
system.
the people in the upper region still awake and on? Quiet there soon.
Okay, since we're talking about the Indian education system, one of the main questions that actually came to us, was is attendance, is education all about attendance? Because somewhere, yeah, they're awake now. Somewhere, no one wakes up in the morning to say, oh, I'm going to learn something new today.
She wants to become a star in the college.
So everyone, I think, gets up saying, oh, I don't have attendance, dude. I think I need to attend this class. Oh, I have 85 in that, so maybe I can miss one class. I think many of the students here, they don't like maths, but when it comes to calculating the amount of percentage that is required, they're so good at it. I think even Anisha has a question when it comes to motivation and drive as such, especially in college. Yeah. So my main question is, how do we shift that into more of a learning objective than making attendance so dominant in this education system?
Attendance to learning? You don't. I'm assuming you're not being graded on your attendance. I'm assuming you're being graded by what you are learning, or what you can remember, should I say. More so that. So long as you're being graded by what you learn, you don't have to worry about making a switch because you're not being graded by your attendance. You know, it's like if you say, so-and-so, you're here, okay, 100 for today, and then the person can leave, or not even worry about what, listen, no. Perhaps it's not quite the question she's asking. Perhaps the question she's asking is the fact that maybe people just show up. I'm not exactly sure. It's really weird. She just makes it seem like, people are graded based on whether they show up or not. Or maybe they don't prioritize learning and they just prioritize showing up and doing enough to pass. Maybe that's what she's saying. I mean, you can't really force people to do things. So everyone's going to have to know what they prioritize in their life. If they need to go to, not everyone really needs to go to college, genuinely. I used to think that way, honestly, until I started watching certain red pill stuff. Again, I don't always trust anything at all. Just be cautious of anything that you hear, including the stuff I say. but you don't need to go to college for everything. There are certain things that you do need college for. I'm not saying don't go to college, but be aware of what it is whether you need college education or not. Anything in the medical field absolutely needs college, and the lawyers absolutely needs college. Computer field absolutely needs college. Essentially, the STEM field needs college. But there are certain other fields that requires a different kind of college. I believe they call it I forget what it's called. It's a different kind of college. Essentially, where vocational? No. It's where they teach you. You go to a specific college to do a very specific thing, like welding, or just something else, woodworking, or something like that. These are not the typical colleges, but it's very much a college that teaches a very specific skill, and you actually do what you need to do. You learn how to welding, for example, is one of those things, and you learn how to weld. You learn what the things to look for, what looks like a good weld, how to weld in certain kinds of conditions, or whatever it takes. You learn practical skills that you literally take to the job and actually do. Versus, a lot of these colleges, they teach you a lot of things, but it's still not quite there. For example, my college degree as well, because it was computer science. It's just very broad. and graduated at the wrong time during a rough part of the economy, so it never really helped me out. Anyways, let's continue.
I don't want to share my experience of attendance.
What happens with the student body at large is the drive to learn or the drive to acquire knowledge has died down somewhere. So I think this is a question from the student government itself, because we as an organization, as an institution, I think…
You're trying to win the next election also.
Won it already. Yeah, so what happens with a lot of the students in college is we provide them with all of the avenues that they possibly could ask for. The best associations, the best teachers, the best outlook, the best reach, opportunity, name it, and we've given it at some level. But the drive to get them to actually do it, or the drive to get ourselves to actually pick ourselves by the feet and say, this is what I want to do, I want to make full… use the whole potential of what I've been given. How do we accomplish that? Because I think there's a stage of stagnation. We hit a plateau by third year and we've declined.
Okay, so that's what I was talking about. Like, you cannot force people. You can… the best thing you can do is to talk to them. You need to find a speech that… I would have to think about this, but you generally would have to find a speech that says, hey, look, this… if you're… and this is specific to people who need a college degree to get into a job that they want to do. So again, like, you know, in the medical field, you need a college degree, you need a bachelor's, you need a master's in a doctrine or whatever. So you need to tell them, like, hey, look, you know, if you slack now, you'll slow yourself down. It takes a long time to get this degree because you want to go past a bachelor's, you want to get to a master's and a doctrine or whatever. So, you know, you can't force someone to do it, but you have to encourage them, say, look, this is… college is a lot of money. Someone's paying for it. If the person that's going to college is paying for college, they are going to be 100% on board with that. Hopefully. If someone's paying for the college, then, you know, maybe not so much. It's kind of like Sadhguru with his inner engineering. He said he was giving it away for free, but no one's really taking it seriously. But whenever you pay for it, it changes, because there's what they call skin involved, meaning that you have your money involved in it. You want to make sure you get the most out of your money. So people who pay for themselves to go to college are going to take this seriously. People who don't, well, they might not, because it's free. Whether college was free or not, they didn't have to pay for it. It could have been their parents. So you have to find a type of speech that will encourage people to finish out the year. Say, hey, look, you know, you're in your third year, you got one more after this, just finish it out, push through it, do your best, and then from then figure out what you really want to do, whether you need to get a master's, a doctorate, or whatever it may be.
So how to overcome that stagnation?
See, as you have been pointing out, as students everywhere, and it's not that teachers and establishment doesn't know about it, they also know. One thing is the massive size of the student body. It's not a small number to experiment and change this and that, it's massive. And if you make any changes, the loopholes that arise in the new system, everybody will exploit the loophole. So, people are averse to change because of this, which is not the right way to approach. But the pressures of running an educational institution, I also know how it is. Talking about attendance, see, I raise my girl with very little interference with what she's doing. So she traveled with me. I was traveling across India, driving myself all the time. So she started traveling with me when she was 3.5 months of age. I just held her down in the front seat, strapped, and drove. Always my right leg is heavy, you know. So she grew up like this in various homes, and her exposure to people was tremendous. By the time she's 18 months of age, she's fluently speaking 3 languages. But I made it very clear to everybody, nobody will teach her anything. Do not teach her ABC, Mary had a little lamb. I don't care whether Mary had a lamb or not. So, I made one rule, you can play with her You can do whatever, nobody is going to teach her 1, 2, 3, ABC, nothing. No rhymes, no nothing. Well, she picked up some cinema tunes, this and that, like Sounds of Isha singing, she picked up those tunes by herself, but nobody taught her anything. Then I thought I'll never send her to school, she can just be with me, but one big problem is you cannot provide that age group company, which is very important. She may become my age when she is still 10, 12. So I sent her to a school which is most relaxed without too many restrictions. When she was 12, 13 years of age, one day she came to me. Something that happened in the school upset her emotionally and she came to me and she said, "You're teaching everybody so many things, you don't tell me anything." I said, "See, I don't teach anything to anybody unsolicited. Now that you've come, we can talk, I think." I said, "This is all you have to know. Never look up to anybody." She looked at me like this. I said, "Even me?" "Because if you look up to me, you will miss the value of who I am. Maybe you'll hang me on the wall and nail me to the wall and smoke me out of your house with incense. But you will miss the value of who I am, you have to look at me for who I am. So don't look up to anybody, don't look down on anybody. This is all. Just think through this. Because all human beings have fixed it. Something is good, something is bad, something is high, something is low, something is superior, something is inferior. In this state, there's no education, if you ask me. Only misuse of knowledge. So this is all you have to know. Never look up to anything, never look down on anything. You will become absolutely present and very human. Full-fledged human. And if you become an overflowing humanity, your learning possibilities, your perception will blow up like that. That's what we need to do, but how to do it, they were telling me in these premises there are 10,000 girls. How to do it with 10,000 girls? It's tough. Okay, we will limit it to only 2,000 girls, then there will be strike outside on the street. Why are you not giving us admission? So this is a situation which can't be just fixed simply because somebody changed their mind, you can't fix it. There is a very complex reality there. So for yourself, we can do this, maybe, I don't know, from the student union or from the teacher's side. If we can identify responsible students, responsible need not necessarily mean obedient. Responsible need not necessarily mean they're getting 98 marks in where they should only get 60. So, responsible is different. All I'm saying is, if all of you girls assure the management that our time in the college don't compel us to just necessarily sit in the class, but these 7 or 8 hours we have, we will stay focused on something. We will not sit here and there gossiping, we'll focus on something. If education is a focused time, it doesn't matter what you focus on. Who knows, you may be science, suddenly you may become a better psychiatrist than her, psychologist than her, or she may be psychology, she may just pick up something else. Because choices are made considering so many things at a certain time, that may not be your genuine aptitude. See, there is a certain genius in every human being. Home situation and school situation must fundamentally focus on how to unfold that genius. Unless you create that atmosphere of incubation, it will not flower. Believe me, 99% of the human beings on this planet live and die without ever touching the inner genius that they hold within themselves. It is not just about them, what a loss to humanity. This is why the same stupid things are being debated for thousands of years, because human genius doesn't open, bunch of idiots. Yes, talking the same damn things forever as if it's something else. What every other creature with a millionth of your brain knows, human being is struggling to figure out. What a grasshopper knows, You're struggling to figure it out. This is not fair. Hello? This is not fair to humanity. I want a higher opinion. Hello, all of you.
So another topic that is like very sensitive, but it's not talked about as much, is casual relationships that exist in this nice age group that we're in. So yeah, I'm just going to say good things about us. So people engage in physical relationships today, and what they lack is a lot of emotions. And we want to know if it's opinion, I mean your opinion on it, and whether people do it by choice. Is it healthy? Is it, what to make of it?
Okay, so this is something the Red Pill community has talked quite a bit about. Again, I keep saying about this community because it's just very interesting to hear and listen to what people have to say about situations. It's not always right, it's not always wrong. Right now, from what I'm hearing, again, it's not everyone, but generally speaking, they call it the hookup culture, casual relationships. It's pretty bad for women. Generally speaking, I believe women require stronger connections to get to the physical relationship part. But I think there are some who will bypass that, but it doesn't seem like it's a good thing. But I think what happens is that after they do it, they play it off as though it is. Because they so desperately, again, this particular group of women, not all, want to be able to do that without having an issue. So they'll force themselves to believe that that is a good thing. But I do believe this is majority of women, that don't like casual hookups. But anyways, what's kind of going on in the United States is that there are more women who are not single than men, if I said that correctly. Meaning there are more women who are in a relationship, but there are more men who are not. But I think it's also there are more men who have not slept with a woman in over 1 year or more than women. And there are more women in the United States. So what does that say? And there's this kind of really high standards that women have over here, a bit to the ridiculous nature of it. Not all, again. I think it's a growing minority, however, and it's kind of, how do I say, it's dealing with a lot with the social media. Seeing what life could be like, and obviously you want the best life possible, but it might not be realistic. This is a pretty heavy topic, a lot to discuss in that one. But essentially, too long, didn't read. It's pretty bad for women in general, but also at the same time bad for men as well, because you have this outcome where there are many women who have. Let me use the statistics. There are many women who have slept with a guy than men who have slept with a woman within the year time. Meaning that majority of women, or a good portion of women, are sleeping with the same guy. Because either the men are not going out there and looking and seeing that's too much trouble, or two, there's this really, really good-looking guy with a lot of money that's able to attract many women, and all these women are falling for him, kind of deal.
Can I tell you a joke?
Yes, please.
There was one Mrs. Bhatia. No Bhatias? I could change the name. There was one Mrs. Bhatia who was having her 50th wedding anniversary. They had a wedding anniversary, and the next day she filed for divorce. The judge saw the divorce petition. He was also a good family friend. So he called her and he said, "Why you want to divorce your husband? He's such a sweet little thing. Why do you want to divorce him? On what grounds you want to divorce him?" She said, "He's not been faithful to me. He's been cheating me." How do you come to this conclusion? Just yesterday you had your 50th wedding anniversary. You were fine yesterday. How do you conclude this? I got little nostalgic and started flipping through the photo album. Then I saw none of my 5 children resemble him.
What? I get it, but
So see, right now, do you remember how your great…
I'm sorry, I'm gonna rewind that because I want to hear that.
You had your 50th wedding anniversary. You were fine yesterday. How do you conclude this? I got…
Wait, sorry.
Why do you want to divorce him? On what grounds you want to divorce him? She said, "He's not been faithful to me. He's been cheating me." How do you come to this conclusion? Just yesterday you had your 50th wedding anniversary. You were fine yesterday. How do you conclude this? I got little nostalgic and started flipping through the photo album. Then I saw none of my 5 children resemble him.
Okay, I don't know if I missed a joke or not. I get it. I get the fact that she's the one that's sleeping around with other men. Well, I don't know if it's 5 different men or the same man 5 times. But I still don't understand. I mean, maybe I got it and I just don't get the joke, I guess. I don't know. Let me know.
So see, right now, do you remember how your great-grandmother 10 generations ago looked like? You don't. But her nose is sitting on your face right now. Your body remembers, yes or no? Yes. Your body remembers even the skin tone of your forefathers 1,000,000 years ago, it still remembers, not forgotten. So what you're calling as my body is an enormous amount of memory, isn't it? What you carry in your brain as memory is minuscule. What you carry in your body, there is evolutionary memory, there is genetic memory, there is karmic memory, there are articulate and inarticulate levels of memory. There is so much memory. You think you know how to walk right now, please understand, only because your body has built up that memory. If your body forgets, you won't be able to walk. So, the amount of memory for every simple thing that you do, you know what to eat, what not to eat, how to eat, you must put it in your mouth, not in your ears. This may look funny, but you would not know if you don't remember. So, your body is a repository of tremendous amount of memory and it's picking up all the time. If you walk from here to here, there may be 50 different kinds of mild smells. You may not consciously notice, but the body is picking it up and it recognizes. All the time it's recognizing, that's how you know what is good smell, what is bad smell, this is this smell, that is… You recognize the different aspects of sound, smell, this, that, because constant recognition is happening. So this body memory, traditionally in this culture, we call this as runanubandha. That means physical memory that you build. You can either consciously build your physical memory or you can simply take in wild amounts of memory and go through lots of physical confusion. So wherever there is impact, I don't know if you still have these things, maybe in your generation is gone, but still there will be people in Bangalore city. If you ask them to… if you try to give them salt, they won't take it, they'll say, keep it there. If you try to give them sesame seeds, they will say, please keep it there. Because they have recognized many substances which can easily carry your memory and it will become mine if I take it. So I don't want to take in memory. This is the reason why generally in this culture, touching each other, shaking hands, these things are avoided. We touch our own two hands and do namaskaram because we don't want to go on picking up memory. Because if I as much as touch this memory, it remembers. You try this with 4 of your friends, you touch their hands. Don't try to consciously remember, every day touch their hands, forget about it. Tomorrow, if that person comes and touches you, you know it's this hand, isn't it? So the body remembers, it's not the mind. The physical body remembers, this is called as runanubandha. When there is a sexual interaction or there is any kind of intimacy which involves thought, emotion and body, the amount of memory that is left in your system is very big. It is from this context they said you must keep this as simple as possible. There are other aspects where in certain tantric process and all they're involving, they are preparing themselves for years to distance themselves from the body in such a way that the body doesn't pick up anything from anywhere. This is being done like a sadhana, not as sexual promiscuity. So, the question is not of morality, the question is of what is it that you want to do with yourself in your life. If you want to be in such a way that in your life, your inner intelligence will be the most dominant thing in your life, not your physical body, then you must keep the body's memory as simple as possible. This is why simple types of food, people go into very simple kind of food, not complicated. Even now, I eat 1 meal a day and I eat only 1 item in the meal. I won't eat 10. I may eat all of those things another day, but today I'll eat only 1 item because it makes a huge… Just experiment and see, don't go by what I'm saying. Just experiment and see, especially when your examination time comes, eat simple food and see what a difference it makes for your intelligence, how it functions, how alert you are, everything.
I would say be a little bit cautious of that though. Don't change your diet drastically. But so long as you eat enough and eat the variety, you should be fine. Again, I'm not a dietitian, but I think it's pretty… I would say it should be fairly common sense to not change your diet too drastically. And what that essentially means is that don't just all of a sudden just eat rice and rice only, or don't just eat meat and meat only. It's I'd say gradual change. You can say skip out rice on 1 meal and eat like normal, and eat the rest like normal vegetables and meat or whatever. But again, dietitian, and be mindful of your body. That's the most important thing, is to be completely aware, because no dietitian will ever tell you what your body feels like, how is it feeling, or anything like that. Now, if you feel something in your body, you tell your dietitian, hopefully, and your doctor. They can tell you what might be going on. You can feel it, they can't. You may not know what it is, but they can. So be very, very careful. I've heard of certain doctors when they do, was it the keto diet? They talked about there's a kid who was doing the keto diet and he passed out because he was doing it because he wasn't eating enough. In the keto diet, I believe your body doesn't retain anything, so you must constantly keep it supplied with food because everything just gets flushed out, apparently. I think. But yeah, he wasn't supplying his body with enough food because he doesn't normally eat that much. And he figured, I guess the kid figured he could go, obviously when you get hungry, you can still continue to do other things and just eat a little bit later. But I guess maybe in a keto diet, you can't do that. Again, don't do drastic changes. Just do slow changes, it's fine. And be completely aware of your body. If something seems very off after a change, you may want to go back. But again, dietitians know generally more. But again, dietitian and medicine is relatively young. So keeping like simple foods and stuff is actually not a bad idea, so long as you have a variety. Rice, fish, and vegetables, those are very simple foods. They're not processed like in the in America. Sorry, excuse me. And those are very, very simple foods. I do believe, again, I don't know what simple foods are, but I'm assuming it's not processed foods. So getting it essentially from wherever you got it from straight to your plate is pretty straightforward.
So, what is it that you're trying to build yourself to? Do you want to build yourself to be a sexual supernova? Or… No, I'm saying some people may have that intention, that's up to them. But what is it that you want to do with your life is something that you must decide. If you have decided that, it's very, very important that you don't unconsciously pick up enormous amount of memory, because this will lead to… Later on you will see, it'll become very difficult to remain peaceful and joyful in your life, no matter what good things may be happening. Simply because there is confusing memories in the system. When something else of similar nature comes, the body goes into a turmoil of confusion. It may not translate into your mind. Just physically, it will go on. So, it's a choice that one has to make. It's not a question of morality, it is a question of living sensibly.
Okay, I think I'll pause it right there. I'll say a little bit something different. I'm definitely not familiar with what Sadhguru is talking about in terms of body memory. I do somewhat, or at least I assume some things there. So mind you, I said the word assume there. Because, so sickness, and we have diseases that spread, we have germs all over our body, and you do share that with people. That, I don't know if he means that to be part of the memory. Obviously, you and your family have very similar germs, so that you don't necessarily get each other sick, but when you start to interact with strangers or different people, you could end up getting that germs mixed up, and it could affect your body. Again, I don't know if that's exactly what Sadhguru is talking about. It could be part of it. But it is very true that you can kind of see that early on in the human history, that, people who intermingle with other races, other races get sick because those germs were never introduced to that particular region until, boats and stuff. Like a lot of Europeans died in Africa because of malaria, I believe it was, and they never had that disease before, so they were dying, I wouldn't say in droves, but they were dying, and they didn't want to go to Africa very much from my, what little history I know. And then, I don't know what else, but again, I'd say knowledge is power for sure, but it's not the only power, of course. Learning as much as possible is a good thing, but again, I wouldn't say knowledge isn't everything, but knowledge does help quite a lot. And I would say, again, at least from the Americans' point of view, and from my curiosity in that area, it seems very detrimental to women, majority of women. I don't think a lot of women want to go through this, and I don't think a lot of men necessarily want to go through all this either. So it's overall a negative effect, because in the United States, I believe there are more women who are single that are older because they have prioritized other things, like their job, their work, or that they have so high standards that they can't find anyone, or that they've went through so many people that they said, this is the best from that person, that's the best from that person, that's the best from that person, and it's like, well, let's combine that all, the best, so this 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, let me find that 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and never find anyone. I mean, don't get me wrong, there could be some lucky few people who find that 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, but I think majority of people is going to find 8, 7, 9, 5, 10, and then from building a relationship, all of those numbers will go up. Just because you find something that's very, very important to you, that you want in a person. It's not the looks, not necessarily. Don't get me wrong, you have to like the way they look, but it's how to say, they make you feel good, I suppose. And I don't mean like they lie to your face and to make you feel good. It's more along the lines they either do things for you or they help you out in certain ways. really weird conversation here. I'm not a love guru or anything like that, but just, again, mere observations. And I think this is what everyone really genuinely knows, but they just lie to themselves a lot, thinking they want this, this, and this, and in reality, they know what they want, but it's kind of like, I guess, you know, discovering your true self. You know, you're lying to yourself that you think you're the mind or the ego, and that's clouded your judgment on who you really are. It's kind of like clouding your judgment of what you really want in a relationship. Anyways, that's the end for at least part 3. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, and thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.